Welcome to Armberger Smackdown. I'm J. Christoph Armberger. If you're looking for a fitting synonym for the global economy, try the word competition. Companies that had enjoyed decades and centuries of established and protected markets found that they were able to increase their competitiveness by opening up new markets for their products. Then they discovered that they could improve their bottom lines even further by entering their workforces and manufacturing capacities into the global competitive equation. Those countries that offered low-cost workforces, access to cheap resources, and their government's commitment to do anything to attract business managed to move entire industries halfway around the globe. And consumers were better off for it, because the global economy is deflationary in nature. So were businesses, because for entrepreneurs and investors, the point of being in business is to end up with more money at the end of the year than you started with. Otherwise, they'd call it therapy. Of course, that opens up the small matter of after-tax profits. The lower the taxes, the higher the profits that can be dispersed or reinvested. And the more competitive the respective country becomes as a magnet for corporate headquarters. It is no longer the worker, the supplier, the seller that competes for business. Government itself has to get into a competitive mood to ensure the survival and expansion of its national economic base. Some governments understood that early on. They were small at first. Hong Kong drew manufacturing business before I entered elementary school. Monaco drew highly paid tennis stars whose commitment to devote their skills to subsidize social engineering programs in their home countries was deplorable, to say the least. Then Ireland turned its back on Europe's tax and spend philosophy, which unexplainably had turned the continent into a growth-deprived entitlement swamp. Ireland turned from Europe's economic backwater into its fastest-growing economy. Russia followed, Poland, the Czech Republic, the Baltic states. Some countries slashed corporate taxes radically. Others went so far as levying one simple flat-rate tax plan that did away with false distinctions between corporate and capital gains tax rates and abolished the multiple tax on investors. Economic growth picked up and began to soar. Investors' capital started to pour in. Today, there's a veritable tax cut war going on in Europe. After decades of stagnation and decline, Spain, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom are aiming at outcompeting the United States in the global race for business and capital. They're successful, and why not? On average, EU corporate tax rates have dropped to 25%, compared to the US federal, state, and local average of 40%. Oddly enough, it's not just the nominally conservatives that turn out to be pro-business. France's Nicolas Sarkozy campaigned on the promise to cut corporate taxes. So did Spain's socialist Prime Minister Zapatero and Italian Prime Minister Prodi. The trend is starting to become worrisome. If the most backward and stagnant intellectual movement of the 20th century, European-style entitlement socialism, is actually providing a healthier environment for economic and job growth than even a conservative American administration, how backwards, isolationist, and out of touch with the world can a political party be that is selling 19th century class struggle, rhetoric, and resentment as a viable economic program? Apparently oblivious to the fact that capital has no fatherland, and that in a global economy a single $100 document can relocate a multi-billion-dollar corporation, its jobs, and its taxable income from Houston to Dubai, Democrats Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and John Edwards are all talking tax hikes like it's 1976. Facts and numbers don't matter. The candidates claim that the percent of taxes paid by corporations has fallen as corporate profits have soared. Of course, the opposite is true. Business tax collections as a share of overall tax revenues have exploded well above the levels of the Clinton administration. Individual tax rates are lower and tax collections just posted a new historic record. Lucky for them, the math skills and economic literacy of the average American are comfortably underdeveloped. The mercenary lust for unearned money is a powerful magnet for those who have been brought up in the belief that society, or at least those making $5,000 more than they do, owes them plenty. That's bad news. not necessarily for business. A billion-dollar corporation like Halliburton can relocate corporate headquarters overseas just as fast as a Democrat senator can move his assets to a family trust in Fiji. How difficult could it be for an investor or an information business? But when capital emigrates, jobs inevitably follow. Eventually, so does prosperity. In the spirit of fair competition, maybe we should encourage the candidates to adjust their economic horizons a bit. Get with the program. And I don't mean that 70s show. For TaipanFinancialNews.com, I'm J. Christoph Amberger.